Before we go on with this video, man, look, let me tell you something, huh? Luiz Henrique and Leo Pereira are getting along over there, huh? They're getting along at Brazil's training on ESPN. We'll head over soon. We've got our coverage for you on the Paparazzo Rubro Negro channels from the national team's training sessions. And look, we posted about Leo Pereira early this morning, and man, Leo Pereira has so much quality, it doesn't even seem like, because defenders usually don't have that much quality. But look at this, look at this, look at Leo, man. And do you know who he's playing around with? So comfortable there. Look with Luis Henrique. Luis Henrique, look, just look at Leo. Look at that kind of juggling with, it's like a mini soccer game. Look at them, best friends, right? Best friends, huh? That's crazy, huh? What's up? Do you approve of Luis Henrique joining Flamengo? Man, it's really tough, isn't it? If I tell you that he's doing really well in the World Cup, the chances of him coming back to Brazilian soccer are very slim, right? Because actually, we were talking about this yesterday, that comment from Mbappe after the game, saying, look, this here, he's clearly talking about it. It was impressive, right? Luis Henrique impressed those guys. And we can really see that he's really motivated and all. I even said it here. I said, look, I think Luis Henrique could really help the Brazilian national team. He's a guy who's really eager, right? And he plays really well. And Flamengo's fans really want it, even yesterday, Anginho, right? He met him at the exit of the hotel where the Brazilian team was staying and said, man, I want to see you at Flamengo, huh? He gave a little laugh and all, didn't say anything, right? But he was super friendly. He doesn't rule it out, man. He doesn't rule it out. At no point people say, oh, he won't play for Flamengo. At no point recently has he ruled that out. Everybody knows, right, how big Flamengo is and that playing for Flamengo opens doors. Now, it's cool to see Leo Pereira, right, and Luis Henrique uh, in this exchange, right, in this friendship, right? Very important already, right? It already opened the way, right? And guys, look, I want to remind you who are arriving here on the Paparazzo Rubro Negro channel. Before we play the intro, look, this jersey here looks like the one from 2019. It's really cool. There are Zico jerseys too, which I'm highlighting here on YouTube Shopping, the official Mangalongo jersey, right? You can customize it. Nobody owes us anything. So everything here, right, on the Paparazzo Rubro Negro channel, you get the official Flamengo products, you help Flamengo, and you help our channel too. Roll the intro. Flamengo makes a last attempt for Everton, Cebolinha, and we're bringing you exclusive information about the negotiation and also an important decision. So, in this mid-season break, let's put it that way, that Flamengo will get in the middle of the year. All the Brazilian teams got it. We're also going to bring you information about a deal that Flamengo has practically wrapped up. Flamengo is moving forward with a very important deal, especially for a club that competes in so many tournaments like the Libertadores. We're also going to bring information here that confirms what we reported yesterday and gives more details about the possible, or rather likely, departure of Gonçalo Plata from Flamengo. Here we go. Hey everyone, greetings red and black fans. This is Flamengo. Welcome to the Paparazzo Rubro Negro channel. And for those of you who are joining us, I invite you to follow, like, and share on all platforms. If you're on YouTube, I invite you to subscribe down below, turn on notifications, hit the bell, and drop a like on the video. We're here thanks to Caravana do Haroldo. You can secure your spot at Flamengo's games with Caravana do Haroldo. Games with tickets at Maracanã, local assistance with the ticket included. So check out Caravana do Haroldo right now. Libertadores, Copa do Brasil, Brasileirão, all with tickets included at Maracanã. If you want to travel to Cusco to support Mengao in Peru, if you want to go there with, man, a complete package, right, including help with tickets and everything else, you can get in touch. There are packages where you can include a tour, a Machu Picchu visit. You can arrange all of this with the folks from Caravana do Haroldo, who have been serving Flamengo fans since 1981. They were already helping Flamengo supporters at the 1981 Club World Cup. It's a serious company, all right? So, you can already arrange the Copa do Brasil, Libertadores, Brasileirão, all the games with Caravana do Haroldo. The WhatsApp number is in the description and in the pinned comment. So, here's the news. Flamengo has made progress in negotiations over the aircraft. Man, this is really important. It's a logistics issue, right? Flamengo is already planning the logistics for Cusco, and there's a chance the team will arrive and stay overnight in Lima or Arequipa. But they're also considering the possibility of going straight to Cusco. Okay? So, Flamengo is always very concerned about logistics and is already negotiating the rental of a plane that will be 100% at the club's disposal. According to GE, the deal should be finalized after the World Cup with the goal of making the teams travel easier without depending on airlines. As President Luiz Eduardo Baptista BAP said during MengoCast on Flamengo TV, the idea is to sign a contract for 3 to 4 years. The board has been investing in logistics to reduce the players' physical wear and tear. Currently, Flamengo's flights are chartered, but there are still difficulties since the club depends on the availability of the companies. Many times they can't choose the schedules due to a lack of available aircraft. In fact, there are logistical difficulties with scheduling the game in Cusco. Okay, guys? So it's a situation that bothers Flamengo, okay? To quote BAP, we'll secure 35 flights with one airline. If everything goes well, that aircraft stays on the ground in Rio de Janeiro and only takes off when we want. This aircraft could provide service to other clubs, so for Flamengo, it becomes cheaper and it's convenient for everyone. When Flamengo is in Rio, the aircraft would be on the ground and could be used by other clubs. What Flamengo is buying is having the aircraft on the ground on the day and at the time we want to fly or rent it. Look at that. Flamengo is going head to head with Leila Pereira. Leila Pereira, who rents, lends, and does these operations with planes for other clubs. So Flamengo is going to compete with Leila Pereira, okay? So he says here, what Flamengo is buying is having the aircraft on the ground on the day and at the time we want to fly, always working in pursuit of excellence, and logistics is no different, especially in a year like this. After the World Cup, it's going to be tough, okay? So BAP talked about it on Flamengo TV, and the issue we were talking about Cusco and everything else, that's it. In the next few years, things will get easier for Flamengo since all this planning relies on aircraft to get to the venue right before the game, because at high altitude you need to arrive just before it starts. Or else you sleep at a lower altitude, right? Or at sea level and then go up like when you stay in Lima. Flamengo has to look for these alternatives precisely to reduce the impact of a game like this. And Flamengo, I'm telling you, has been having a lot of trouble managing to do that. Guys, we just had the Under 12 World Cup final. Man, I talked to a source connected to Flamengo's board who told me that the kids on the Under 12 team are outstanding. Flamengo is going to have a lot of stars. These kids deserve congratulations. Unfortunately, Flamengo's Under 12 team was beaten in the final. Real Betis came in strong after eliminating Barcelona. Yeah. Flamengo then, they made it, right? And they opened the scoring, right, man? It was 3-1 for Real Betis in the final of La Liga Futures, right? The Under 12 World Cup this Sunday morning. So Flamengo's Under 12 team was defeated, unfortunately. But man, congratulations to these boys. I heard that these kids have incredible skills. They have a lot of quality. Flamengo will produce a lot of great young players, right? We had Carlos Leonardo opening the scoring. Flamengo took the lead. Then they ended up blowing the lead. But despite the result, Flamengo's academy youngsters had a spectacular campaign. They reached the final with great performance and caught everyone's attention, okay? They deserve congratulations. They knocked out Arsenal, right, man? They knocked out PSG. Man, congratulations, man. Congratulations. Honestly, I'm really happy to have such a successful youth squad. It's the under 20 team who are still the current two-time world champions. They just lost the Libertadores final, but they were the two-time Libertadores champions. They're not the current Libertadores champions anymore, but they were back-to-back Libertadores champions. They're still the current two-time world champions in the under 20 category, runners-up in the world championship at the professional level. Runners up in the world championship at the under 12 level. Man, you want to judge a team for being world runners up, for God's sake? Flamengo is the current Libertadores champion at the professional level, and in the youth divisions, they're crushing it. So We really do have to celebrate and appreciate all these victories, all these great achievements that Flamengo's youth academy has reached, man. Flamengo has continuity. They still have a very strong youth system. But Paparazzo, we had a start to the Carioca where the youth team didn't do very well. BAP had warned that they were in a transitional phase, that there would really be some difficulties. Even so, these boys were champions recently. They were champions recently. So I think we need to be patient because Flamengo's youth system is very strong. And obviously, there will be times when they'll be champions, they'll shine, they'll win everything, but there will also be times when they won't. Yeah, make some mistakes, fail, like what happened in the Carioca. And I think Flamengo fans shouldn't take that to heart. They really had a bad start in the Carioca right now in 2026, but this same core has already brought a lot, not just brought, but still brings a lot of joy to Flamengo fans. Do you agree with me? So let's go. I'm bringing you some important news about Cebolinha. We've seen a lot of news saying that Cebolinha's playing time has decreased and that he's been benched. He reportedly wasn't getting chances at Flamengo after telling management he wouldn't renew his contract, which could have led to him being benched. So, we brought some important exclusive information on Paparazzo Rubro Negro's pages that coach Leonardo Jardim and Flamengo's management are not leaving Everton Cebolinha without opportunities at the club. The Paparazzo Rubro Negro team found out that despite the low playing time, the forward is still in the Portuguese coach's plans and they have a great relationship, all right? So, even after the player himself publicly stated that he intends to leave the club at the end of the season, there is still hope that he might reconsider his decision. Flamengo still hopes he may reconsider, believing they can negotiate for him to stay. Both the board and Leonardo Jardim want to keep Everton Cebolinha. No one wants to let him go or is thinking about sidelining him, especially in this case, right? To be able to reconsider the decision if he gets more opportunities and makes good use of the break for the World Cup. They talk a lot about that, about the possibility of getting players back during the World Cup break, okay? So there's no indication that the player is losing his spot because of uncertainty about his contract renewal, okay? So just to be clear, there's no problem between the two. The relationship between Cebolinha and Leonardo Jardim is very good, according to what we've been told. And there's this expectation that Flamengo can still get him to stay, even with Cebolinha saying he wouldn't stay at Flamengo at the end of the season. They know internally that he probably already has something lined up, and that's why he doesn't want to negotiate a renewal with Flamengo. But even so, Flamengo believes he might change his mind, and everything depends on the chances he'll have with Leonardo Jardim. And I'm bringing you this confirmed report that there is absolutely no problem. In fact, Leonardo Jardim is hoping during this break now, both for the international break and the World Cup, to give him more opportunities in training and maybe even, who knows, give him some playing time after the break as well, all right? There's the end of the FIFA break now when the player can be used again, and also during the World Cup when many players who aren't called up will have the chance to regain their place in Leonardo Jardim's Flamengo team. And speaking of the international break, we'll also have the World Cup break for the players who aren't called up. And Flamengo is already preparing a plan specifically for this World Cup break, okay? Internally, Flamengo's football department has already decided that they will give all the players a vacation during the World Cup. The tendency is that the players who are not called up will have 15 days of rest and then return for intensive training at Ninho do Urubu. The board is also considering giving a few different days off to the players who are eventually eliminated from the international competition. Those who happen to reach a final or a third place match should have a shorter rest period, okay? This is our exclusive information about Flamengo's planning regarding the players' vacation time. In fact, a source I spoke to said the following: there's no way you can give vacation only to Paquetá and Jorginho, who recently had little time off. Jorginho had the same situation as Paquetá. He came to Flamengo after a season in Europe, and the season in Europe is different. There are other players as well, right? There are several players who came from Europe. Saul is one of the players who came from Europe and didn't get the proper time off. It's no use if you just give vacation to those players and not to the others. As they explained to me, you can't actually do that. So, To try to solve this issue with players who haven't had a vacation recently, you give everyone a vacation. And the information I got is that most clubs should do this. They should give the players at least 15 days of vacation during the World Cup. And with this, Flamengo is mainly addressing the request regarding the players who haven't been able to take a vacation recently, which is also the case for Lucas Paquetá, who just arrived and was playing in Europe. It's different there. The schedule is different, right? So Flamengo is going to give this vacation period. And for those players who are, oh, another thing, talking to a source connected to the board, I said, man, what about Paquetá? How's that going to work? Because it's likely that he won't go to the World Cup. He wasn't called up this time. And this person said, man, we truly believe here that Lucas Paquetá will be called up for the World Cup. We are fully convinced here that Lucas Paquetá is going to the World Cup. And he will only be able to get some days off when his time at the World Cup eventually ends, whether it's by elimination, the final, or the third place match. It's over, depending on the situation. If Brazil goes far, Paquetá and Paquetá. If the call-up is really confirmed, they'll have to consider giving him a few days off. For the player who might end up once again without a vacation, without rest, that's part of it. And then only at the end of the year will he get that vacation. But that's part of being a high-level player who comes from Europe and arrives at Flamengo without being able to have his vacation, because over there it was mid-season. Now, actually, June and July are when there's a break between seasons in Europe. And we had Filipe Luís talking about leaving Flamengo. It's the first time he's spoken about it. I even talked to you about this yesterday. I'll bring his words here again. He said the following: I'm doing very well. He was there in Madrid at Flamengo's victory over PSG in the Under-12 World Cup. And he said the following: I'm doing very well. We had an incredible year last year. We won all the main titles. It was a perfect season, absolutely perfect. It was a shame about the final against PSG on penalties. It was heartbreaking. This year we didn't start so well, and the club decided to end this chapter, which I am very proud of, both as a player and as a coach. I'm just grateful for everything I experienced at Flamengo. So, Filipe Luis talking about the end of this chapter at Flamengo. We have a lot of affection for Filipe, for everything he did for Flamengo. That's a fact. We've seen some fans criticizing him because of the Plata situation. They're talking about Plata and all that. Guys, let me say this. He's just starting his career as a coach. Filipe Luis, he's going to make mistakes. He's going to get things right. But honestly, he's gotten a lot more things right. There's no reason to be upset with Filipe Luis. On the contrary, we should just be grateful for everything he's done for Flamengo. Look, he also talked about the dismissal. He said the following here. Check it out. When I retired from football in 2023, by January 2024, I was already working, so I never stopped working. I never had time to sort things out. For example, when I left Spain and came to Flamengo, my house here in Madrid has been closed up. It's been closed all this time, so I have a lot of things to sort out during this free time. And I'm visiting some clubs, some coaches, to update my ideas, meet new people, and I think this exchange helps us improve a lot. Those are the next steps. So he's over there in Europe, making it clear that he's interested in learning a lot about European football. We wish all the luck in the world to Coach Filipe Luis. Don't hold that anger in your heart. He used to give Plata a chance. Guys, he's going to make mistakes. He got a lot of things right, but he made mistakes too. It's part of it. It's part of football. One of the greatest coaches in Flamengo's history, also the most successful, the biggest winner. So let's show some respect. I hope to see Filipe Luis return to Flamengo someday. Imagine him coming back, even more experienced, with his love for the club. Man, it's going to be fantastic, fantastic. That's it right there. As for Gonzalo Plata at Flamengo, Bruno Andrade on Fala Fonte brought important information that coach Leonardo Jardim and his coaching staff have already authorized Flamengo to negotiate Gonzalo Plata in the next transfer window. In the middle of the year, despite the coach's approval for him to leave, he made it clear that he will only let the forward go after a replacement with similar characteristics arrives. Behind the scenes, Flamengo is already moving in the market, looking for a name to replace him if he leaves. Whether it's possible or not, this departure is pretty much certain. After everything that happened, the player stopped following Flamengo, deleted photos, and all the news that started leaking about him We know there's always some exaggeration. I have to say this. There's always a lot of exaggeration when it comes to Flamengo. Leaks and everything else, but where there's smoke, there's fire. Leonardo Jardim himself said it. He said it in a press conference. He made his dissatisfaction clear. He said that the player has to be committed and everything else. And then there was Flamengo not posting about the player afterward, which had repercussions abroad. It appeared on several pages abroad as well. Flamengo didn't include him on the list of called up players for the games and all that. Flamengo didn't put Plata there, so the situation is really very annoying. But Leonardo Jardim wants a replacement before negotiating his exit. Obviously, Flamengo has this expectation of getting a good deal. After the World Cup, he can be called up again if that's confirmed for the World Cup. And then his value could go up, and Flamengo at least got decent compensation since he wasn't a cheap player. I don't remember the exact amount, but I recall it was around 50 million reais Flamengo when they signed Plata, later acquired another share, so isn't that right? A cheap player, it's not a situation where you can just say, oh no, like I saw some fans saying, oh, terminate the contract, let him go. It's not like that, it's not like that, okay? It's more complicated than that, all right? That's it. I invite you to follow, like, and share on all platforms. If you're on YouTube, I invite you to subscribe down below, turn on notifications by clicking the bell, and leave a big like on the video. Thank you so much for your company. Flamengo greetings. This is Flamengo. Thanks. Hey, hey.